Hello, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. I know you're probably thinking, does that woman never get out of her car? But I find that when I'm sitting here waiting for my children to pick them up from this thing and that thing, it's a nice moment of quiet that I am not afforded in my home when I can just sort of get comfortable with my thoughts and ruminate about life. And what better opportunity when there's no one here to interrupt me than to come online and to do this. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am a school teacher and I am also a mom. And over the course of the last few weeks, as we are navigating this new normal in education here in Ontario, I have observed a level of resiliency in our students that I haven't seen before. And I've been an educator, this is my 17th year. And we often talk about the fact that our kids are coddled nowadays, and they are. And they're spoiled nowadays, and they are. And we do too much for them, and we do. And prior to all this happening, I know there's a lot of talk about the fact that there are no longer, hard deadlines for assignments, and students don't have to necessarily be accountable for certain things the way they did when we were their age. And all of that is true, and yet they are so much tougher than we have given them credit for. And so our kids entered into this situation. Going back even before that, March 13th, they walked out of school and they were told to basically go home and hide so they didn't get sick. And that is scary. And, and then they were told to stay there. And you couldn't talk to your friends, and you couldn't see your friends and family. And I've already blogged and written and talked about that. But so they've been through so much. They were made to give up their teams. They were made to stop their passion projects. They were made to stop seeing the people they love. They go outside and they have to wear masks on their little faces, and they're told, don't touch that, don't touch this, keep your face away from keep the germs away from your face, keep your hands out. And I can't imagine going through this at their age. And yet in September, they put on their little backpacks after being home for whatever it was, 5.5 months, doing the incredibly boring schooling that they did in the spring, and they put on their little backpacks and they went to school. And on the first day of school, I'm telling you as a parent, but I'm also telling you as an educator, when they walked into, again, I can only speak from my experience, but when my students, and they were grade 9 students at that, so my grade 9 students walked into a new school in a new building with no friends that they knew, no teachers that they knew, wearing masks, being made to stand in a long line at the door to individually swear to the fact that they were not ill and would not get anyone else ill, walk in single file lines to their classrooms, sanitizing as they entered the building, then sanitizing as they entered the room. Their teacher, who they did not even know, was wearing a face mask and a visor. So, this is what they saw of me. And they were then forced to sit in chairs in the same class for 2.5 hours. Then they were forced to sit in the same chair for lunch and the same chair for study hall all day. And then we're like, okay, go home. This is your reality. This is school now. And they went home. And so things have gotten better. It's the end of September. I've personally taken my class outside every single day. That's not, and just because a teacher hasn't doesn't mean, I'm better than anyone else, right? Like some classes I teach dramatic arts are more, adaptable in terms of space, but otherwise I'd be teaching them dramatic arts sitting in a chair all morning, and so things are getting better. We no longer have to wear the plastic visor unless we're coming in within a certain distance to the kids. That's less scary. At my school, all of the arts teachers are wearing buttons with our faces on them, so at least they know what we look like. I guess my point is, had you asked me at this time last year, about whether our kids were tough enough, whether our kids were strong enough, whether our kids were accountable, or had enough responsibility for kids their age, I may have chimed in with, really, like I had to have deadlines. What these kids have gone through, how these kids have flipped their mindset, how these kids have transitioned to an entirely new life in a new system is honorable. How they have adapted to change after change after change after change after change after change in less than a year, to the reminders everywhere that their safety and health is in jeopardy, that the safety and health of their grandparents, is in jeopardy, that at any minute, this privilege of going back to school where they have to sit in the same chair all day, even that is going to be taken away from them at any time if cases rise. So the carpet could be ripped out from under them. They're well aware at any moment. Each and every day I have at least one student ask me, are the cases rising, miss? Are we still going to be in school next month? Is everything shutting down? What do you think? Is everything going to be okay? They don't know. From one day to the next, they don't know. Hug your babies. Hug your babies. They need some serious reassurance that even though everything in their life has changed, that you still love them, that you are there, that you're not going anywhere. It may seem dramatic, but really, everything in their life has changed. And they know that things could be continued to be taken away. This will have long-term effects on these children. And again, as a parent, as an educator, I just wanted to share my perspective from a mom at home's perspective, but also from the educator in the room. These kids have struggled and gone through so much. We need to reassure them. We need to tell them that even though things are changing at a rate that is so unfair to them, so scary, so sad, so shocking, even though all these things are changing and everything seems risky and everything seems like it's temporary, our love is not temporary. Our love is not risky. Our love is not going to go away. Hug your babies and say, you are safe. You are present. and we're going to take care of each other. Tell them that you don't know what's going to happen. Level with them. Say you're not sure. School could close again. Maybe it won't. Maybe they'll have sports teams again. Maybe not for a really long time. Like, be honest, but just understand from their perspective what they're going through. I think that we as adults are so, we're going through a lot too. Whoo, are we going through a lot? we're going through a lot. But we're grown-ups. And I don't know, our little ones shouldn't have to be feeling all the feelings that they're feeling right now. And I think that, kids can be strong and kids can deal with more than we give them credit for. But this is a lot. And I think it's a lot more than we realize. So thank you for listening. Hug your babies. And if they come home and they're grumpy, they come home, they don't speak very nicely to you, or they cannot get used to going to bed on time, or they cannot get used to getting up again in the morning, if they cannot pull their clothes on and get to the table and fulfill their responsibilities, that stuff's annoying, but know where it's coming from. Know where that is coming from. And maybe, just maybe, you can find that little bit of extra patience, even though you're going through a lot too. Nobody should have to sit in the same chair all day when they're 10 years old, right? Their bodies, their minds, their spirits are not meant for that. So when they go home, when they have a whole lot of extra energy and they're talking too loud, and let it go. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe and have a great day.